Hello, today I'm going to film myself doing my weekly testosterone shot. When I first started T, I filmed it all the time and I just haven't in probably over a year. So that's what we're doing today. I have this cool little mini toolkit, got it from the dollar store. I used to keep it in like a shaving bag, now this is fun. So here's the T, it's Depot testosterone. This is made by Pfizer, which is pretty cool. But Pfizer's busy with other stuff these days, so they've actually switched. And now my newest prescription will be the generic brand, which is called Taro. But it's still the same stuff inside. So there's the T. Got all my supplies. I use 25 gauge syringes, and it's 5/8 of an inch, and it's subcutaneous is what I do. So these are 1 milliliter syringes, 25 gauge tip to inject, but then I have these to draw up the T, which are 21 gauge. 21 gauge 1 inch tips. So what I do is just pull that back a little bit, switch the tip, hold on to that, swab the top. And one thing so I've been on T for 2.5 years now. When I first started T, I had a lot more belly fat, so it was easy for the subcutaneous shots. Sorry, we're out of focus so much. It was easy for subcutaneous shots to just put it right in that belly fat, whereas now I don't have as much. So I've actually been switching, and I was getting a lot of bruising and scar tissue built up all around my stomach, like really hard. It felt like hard pellets. So now I actually do it kind of like in my top of my hip flanks. That's where I do my shots most of the time now because there's more fat there. Or I've done it in my butt. So, do that. I'm gonna do it here today. Okay, so draw up. I do 0.5. That is my dosage. So I draw up the air, stab it in the bottle, and then put the air in the bottle so it creates more pressure in there so the tea comes out faster. So I do my shot every week on Mondays. It's funny, when I first started doing my shot, no one else did it on Mondays. Everybody had like Thursday shots or whatever. So there we go, 0.5. Whereas now I have a couple friends that do them on Mondays too, so that's pretty cool. We all remind each other, because sometimes I forget. There's a lot of holidays that land on Mondays, so if I have Monday off, it's kind of, I forget about it. So I put the other tip back on. We'll just squeeze out some air. I find with these 1 ml syringes that I'm using, there's always a little air bubble in there. When I first started doing my shots, I used 3 ml syringes. I don't ask why. That's all my pharmacy had. But there was less air in them. Okay, so there we go. There's no air in there. We are ready to inject. The spot is clean and dry. And so we'll just stab it in. A little bit of pain, but nothing too crazy. I know some people use, okay, so it's all injected. I usually just like stay there for a few seconds and then pull it out. Because if you pull it out way too fast, you get a lot of leakage of the tea coming out of you. So, and then I put pressure on the spot, usually with this, to prevent scar tissue from building up. So, no blood or anything. Oh, maybe a little bit, but I actually don't use Band-Aids when I do my shots. I just don't see the point. So there we go. Put this on. I'll put this in my Sharps box. It's in my bathroom. As I was saying, some people use even smaller needles, where it's like the needle's even thinner, so like an insulin syringe. But then they're sitting there. It takes so long to inject it because tea is really thick. I don't do that. 25 is actually pretty thin. Depends what the store has. Sometimes I use like 23 gauge to inject it. I don't mind if it's thicker. Needles don't bother me. It doesn't hurt. So yeah, that's my tea shot. And then I will throw this back in the little box. I always keep it in this box to keep it away from less germs and stuff. Throw it back there. And we're good to go. Toss this out. That's the weekly tea shot. I like to do it every week instead of every 2 weeks. I find I keep my levels more consistent, whereas I know some people, they like to do it every 2 weeks. But yeah, every week for me. That's a tea shot. Thanks for joining me.